I want to start this video off with a tad bit of an apology. This video is going to be a bit different, and I don't think in an entirely negative way. I really like this game, and I came from it from just finding it on a YouTube video, and then I just started playing, and I've enjoyed the shit out of it. And I think there's some pre-context needed, especially because I'm actually scripting this video. It's the first video where I'm writing an actual intensive script instead of bullet pointing. I still do a fairly large amount of that, but I scripted it. I've had a lot of fun scripting it, but it's taken a hell of a lot of time, and a lot of takes and everything because I'm trying to stick to the script. So if the video seems drawn out or incorrectly toned, I apologize. So yeah, pre-context. I found this game off of, I think it was Worst MMOs or Dying MMOs, some video like that. And then I did my own research. I saw it on the titles and I saw the art style. So I looked up the game, I saw it on Steam, I downloaded it, and I watched his video. And I loved it. Like, just watching his video, it seemed like there was so much to do, and so, like there would be a good community. Even if it was dead, I saw that he had a pretty decent subscriber count, so I went on here. And I think the game would be entirely different if he had never made that video. I would have probably still discovered it, because it's kind of what I do, is just looking through weird free games whenever I'm bored. But other than that, I think things would be really different if I discovered it earlier. So I'm going to talk about it both from that view, the view of, oh, things could be insanely different if he had never intervened with the game. As I just want to talk about as if it was an empty world, because that was kind of fucking awesome to see from him. Because when he played it, it was empty. And I'm going to talk about the new community that's sprung up and become much larger now that he made that video, because things have changed, and I think for the better. So with the rambly pre-context out of the way, I'm going to summarize essentially what I'm going to be doing in this video. It's going to be both talking about the game from a point of more adoration, as well as the game reviewy normal tone I'll set for the game and review videos. I traditionally treat these videos like an excuse to play these games, like a reason to return to titles I've already beaten, or a reason to experience them in a new light and have some motivation to play them, but I really didn't need that with this game. I found the community, as well as just the fun of playing the game, to be enough to motivate me. So I'm going to get that out of the way before talking about any sort of review, because I'm going to be entirely biased. None of the shit I say is going to be coming from a point of honesty, because if you look at the game and how it runs, it's not the best. But I love it. It's the stylized bullshit that I admire in any game. I love Lisa. Like, I love surrealist games, and Lisa's not the best example. But I have a shit ton in my Steam library, and those are the ones that are going in that, little playlist that's sitting pretty empty on my channel of surrealist games. And this for sure could go in there, and it probably will. On to sound design, which some of you may know is my fatal flaw or weakness. I would like to say it means I judge it better, or I'm more attuned to it, the fact that I listen to it and it's what brings me into a game. But when there's a game like this where visuals don't entirely match, or I actually have come to think they do the more I've played this game, now having, it has to be 6-7 hours of in-game progress. But I've found the music and sound design has to be divided into two categories: the soundtrack and the sound effects. Usually those are not a clashing force, they kind of blend with each other in most games, but in this game that is far from the truth. The sound design or the soundscape in this game, as I said, the two categories. The music, this wistful, woeful tune that kind of twists itself around you. You don't really know when one song ends and the other begins. And it's this perfect escape of noise for a purgatory, a hell, an endless suffering like your skeleton or zombie experiences in this game. For everything having collapsed, it's a hopeful tune. That's where the wistfulness comes in, but it's hoping for things gone by. And the woefulness, the melancholy, the infinite stretching, the dichotomy of infinitely winding your way through an afterlife can really be heard. It's like I said, one sound doesn't end and the other begins. The sound design is beautiful. I haven't been able to find it anywhere online, or else that's what would be playing during this footage. And then there's the sound effects. The speech is this choppy, text-to-speech sounding, almost cacophony of noises. It could be described as its own language. It feels like a made-up language rather than English. And then there's the noises. They feel almost abrasive, like they're bashing into you when it comes to casting spells or performing emotes or even like interacting with menus. And I don't think that's a bad thing. They kind of have this I'm using fancy words, I don't know. I like using big words on the script. There's this back and forth, this cross-referencing or this pressing back and resistance to each other from the noises, where they show a contrast to each other. The music, which is so beautiful and wistful, and the abrasive sounds of bones or spells that feel like they've been cobbled together from the meager supplies and magic you'd find in a place like this. I don't think that's a bad thing. Sound degrades over time, especially people's voice boxes on a skeleton or whatever magic they use to talk, so language would have to evolve. Noises in an airless, arid place are abrasive. They're startling, and you can sense that. So I do not think anything has been done wrong. I don't think it could be with this game. I genuinely really like this game. It's going to lose points because of just how buggy it was and how it runs. But to me, just from like the sound design, it's a 10. There are better soundtracks, but there can be a perfection even while not being the best. I've come back after about a week of not recording this, and that's mostly because my throat was fucked again. Happens way too often if I talk too much. I just, don't have the best throat. But the next topic on most of my reviews is the UI. I find, UI is something good to talk about. It's something each game can do differently. It gives you different goals. How do I explain it? Your Minecraft and your Terraria are differentiated, from the differences in their UI as much as anything else. An inventory system and two different survival horror games. The survival horror games are, essentially the same thing, like, not really. But the UI of, like, stacked inventory or, like, space management can all make an experience a lot different. And I found the UI with this game to be strangely... I want to use the word intuitive, but I feel it could be simpler. But for some reason, once you get it like really easily. All it takes is looking at the help menu or the button inputs, and then suddenly you're like, yep, I understand this game. Because the spells in the hotbar, it feels a little bit weird for them to be lined up the way they are. If I use the scroll wheel or just can hit Q and E, just put those spells there. So it's not really a bad thing at all. It's once you get used to it, it's actually pretty fucking good compared to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like something like Minecraft. Your health bar and your stam are up there. I do strangely wish stam and mana were different because I just I don't like going through the process of running out of stamina all the time, but there are items that increase speed and all this other stuff, so I really don't have a right to complain. The just tab to open the inventory, the crafting menu being pretty simple, G to teleport, the visor with V, and then the 2-click system with spells is all, I'm going to use the word intuitive. It's, there's nothing else you can describe it as. It's intuitive in a strange way. It's, everyone designs something differently. Everyone has different goals when they design something. It was clear they had a goal, and it's been simplified, and it's good. You don't want every single game to have the same fucking thing. Like what happened after Halo, even though Halo is God's gift to Earth, but still, the point stands that it has a unique AI, like a unique UI, and it's usable, and it's easily usable. It's not too complex, and it doesn't have me forgetting it every time I use it. On to the world design. I've realized even if I script this, I'm quite rambly, unfortunately. It's just a natural state of being for me, is just over talking my point. I really worked on it. I scripted this hard, but my scripts are just as bad as me talking alone. But since I took so long, I'm going to work to just fucking mash all the world design shit that I'd usually split up into a couple categories like monster design, all that shit. So kind of be a big lead-on paragraph. Just want to preface that. But yeah, on that exact topic, monster and gathering design, I'm just going to group into one. So monster design, we have monster variety. So far I've seen from a rock monster to a gremlin to a devil and a flying sky thing. I don't know what the fuck I saw, but I've seen some quite intimidating things. And they are, fleshy, abomination-esque, Lovecraftian, eldritch horrors that look like malformed bodies of the damned, or just like twisted creations, and it fits the setting really well. Their spawns are decently weird. They spawn around these pots like they're protecting them, so like my headcanon is like it's their home, or they're just tasked with not letting us gather items by some greater force. And that's where I see the most of them is around these, and sometimes I'll see a roaming pack of these gremlin things that absolutely destroy you. The gathering stuff is decently well spread about. Each location has some different stuff to grab, and it's not too hard to grab it all or to get what you need, but there's just not enough of it, and the crafting recipes take so much. But I think that lends itself to the experience. It is like a MMO RPG type thing with a bunch of base building and shit that requires these materials. So I think, it's fair that it takes so many materials and there's only so many to have. It's not an issue, especially with the visor and the map, like knowing you can go places to get stuff. So all of that's pretty well done and isn't an issue at all. The world design fits along the theme I've been talking about with a lot of this stuff, with the amalgamations, the horror, the wistfulness. It's kind of the culmination of all of that, because it brings everything together like any setting does. And what it brings together is this huge expanse of space that you're traversing on your feet. It takes a shit ton of time to get anywhere. It's very empty, it's very lack of life, it looks decayed, looks like there's been 1,000 things there, but all that's left are these tiny wooden shanties and small communities and these monster infested ruins. It's a huge purgatory filled with what little life degraded to almost nothing remains. It has that same wistful tone, that same negligence, that same feeling of loss and emptiness, as before. Or at least that is what I would have said a year ago. Now it is populated by shanty structures of players, which is wonderful. Like, it feels like a bunch of people woke up from an endless sleep in purgatory and started going around gathering the infinite supplies and building up. So now it's empty and it's lonely, and you don't see many people outside the cities, but everywhere you go, there's these tall, twisting structures, these amalgamations of the will to live, these constructions that show there are people here and there is no emptiness here. Everywhere, they dot the landscape. Human ingenuity, the soul. I am probably reading into this way too much, but I get very emotional about video games. They always carry a very big tone for me, and they mean a lot to me, and I like to read emotion into them, as it's how I relax outside of work and stuff. And that is the feeling this game gives me, is infinite dark expanse that was nothing. It was virtually completely empty, with no life and very few players, and then all these people woke up, and while it would have been beautiful to explore before with nothing there, now that it's there, it's a different feeling. It's the feeling of reconstruction, recreation, something starting is kind of what you feel like. Because none of it's like too put together, like alongside each other, and that's fine. You get the same sort of feeling in between places, but there's always that random pull in the foreground poking up these weird stone structures to protect the little deity construction, and that's all right. That's what the game offers, and we've brought it to the conclusion of what you can feel from that, and that's a good thing. I think the final review of this game is going to be decently weird for a lot of you. I should add some pre-context. I've never played an MMO in my life. I've played my fair share of RPGs. I picked up Elder Scrolls Online for free, and then I wanted to go experience some stuff. I had to buy stuff, or I was just too much of an idiot to get it without buying it, and I just gave up on it. So I have no experience with MMOs. But I really liked the community aspect. I really liked the lost stuff about this. There's probably MMOs that are way better than it. There's probably a whole bunch of stuff that's better than it. But I really enjoyed the game. I'm going to continue playing the game, and I'll probably do some of my voiceless playthroughs where I do no voice, like no voice, no problems, or whatever, the Dark Souls ones of this, of just me running around doing shit, as I want to play the game more. And it's a good-ass game because of that, because it has that urge to want to play it more. So I have to say my final review is probably higher than what most people would give it. This game's a solid, 7 point something. I really fucking enjoyed it. And remember, most games, I can tolerate a 3 or a 4. I'm not one of those motherfuckers that's like, oh, this experience is below tolerable, I don't play it. No. For it to be a 7 or 8, that's pretty fucking good. I really enjoyed this game, and I don't think there was an absence of enjoyment in any part other than, losing all my shit. And that's just part of, life. But yeah, no, I thank you guys for listening to this video essay. Oh my lord, I can't talk, can I? But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or whenever you're watching this. Hope you guys come back for more. If not, I hope you enjoyed your time here. I hope to see you guys again next time. If not, that's alright. I want to thank you guys. The last one of these I actually recorded and edited. I was thanking you guys for 20 subscribers, because I was at 22. And now I'm at fucking 30 something. And that's insane. You guys turn this hobby, I'll say it every time. You turn this hobby into feeling productive, because that's my main issue with doing hobbies. I can't do them unless I feel productive while doing them, because I have issues finding entertainment and things with it, because centered my entire life around work and school forever. So yeah, thank you guys for letting me actualize enjoyment or continued enjoyment. And yeah, thank you guys. You guys are wonderful. I get more likes and shit than I would have ever thought possible. So you guys are fucking awesome.